Some say enlightenment is a myth, and some say that it is true. But the ones that are saying it's a myth have never experienced what enlightenment truly is. So today we'll talk about what enlightenment really is and hopefully how to attain it. So thank you for joining me today. My name is Douglas Grummons, and today's podcast will mostly be about enlightenment and how to attain it. Let me start by saying that enlightenment really cannot be described in words. The experience itself can't be described in words. But those that have tried have described it as being reborn, being born anew, being enlightened, being awakened. These are just terms that the mystics have used to describe the experience that happens when you basically let go of the past and the future and just be 100% in the present moment. And even though that sounds relatively easy to do, it is not. It takes a total commitment of faith and trust in your being, trust in existence, and trust in life in general before this experience of enlightenment can happen to you. But in Zen, they do say that it's already your nature. You had it before you were born. You had it as a child. You lost it though as you matured, and now it just needs to be regained, or you need to be awakened again out of a deep slumber that you've been in. Sometimes for many lives, they say you've been in this slumber, but it is an awakening. It's your nature, and if you take away all the things that constitute your identity and your existence, all the things that defined you, then what you're left with is your true self. The Japanese people call this your true face. And speaking of Japanese, let me share with you a few words out of Osho's book, The Man Who Loves Seagulls, what Osho says about Zen and enlightenment. So here we go. Osho shares with us, and he says, enlightenment is attained in a single moment. Why? Because you are already enlightened. You have simply forgotten it. You have to be reminded, and that's all. The function of the master is to remind you, not to give you a path, but to give you a remembrance. Not to give you methods of cultivation, and not to give you character or virtue, but only awareness, intelligence, and awakening. In a single moment, it can be attained because you have never lost it in the first place. You are dreaming that you are unenlightened. And you can dream you are in heaven. You can dream you are in hell. And you know, the dream, sometimes you are in heaven and sometimes in hell. And in the morning you can be in heaven, and by the evening you can be in hell. One moment you can be in heaven, and in another moment you can be in hell. It all depends on you. It is something to do with your psyche. It is not something outside of you. Osho shares with us this story. He says, a man died and arrived at the pearly gates and was shown by St. Peter to a waiting room. And as he sat there, naturally anxious to know whether he would be sent to heaven or to hell, the door opened and a famous saint walked in. The man rejoiced and said, I must be in heaven. Just then the door opened again and a famous prostitute walked in, and the man was confused. In that case, I must be in hell, he thought. And while he was still wondering, the saint grabbed the prostitute and started making love to her. The man, flabbergasted, ran to the St. Peter and asked, you must tell me, is this heaven or is this hell? And St. Peter said, can't you see? Answered St. Peter, it is heaven for him and hell for her. Heaven and hell are not geographical. They are not something outside of you. They are something that belongs to your interiority. If you are awake, then you are in a totally different universe. It is as if in your awakening, the whole existence becomes awakened. It takes a new color, a new flavor, a new fragrance. When you are asleep, the whole existence sleeps with you. It all depends on you. So the question is not of cultivating or any character, or becoming virtuous or becoming a saint. The question is how to become out of dreams, how to come out of the past and out of the future, and how to be just here now. And that's what enlightenment is. This. And then here's another little story. When Alice was at the Mad Hatter's tea party, she noticed that no jam was available. She asked for jam, and the Mad Hatter said, jam is served every other day. Alice protested, but there is no jam yesterday either. That's right, said the Mad Hatter. The rule is always jam yesterday and jam tomorrow. Never jam today. Because today is not every other day. Nice, funny little parable there. And that's how you are living. Jam yesterday, jam tomorrow, never jam today. And that's where the jam is. So you only imagine you going on in the drugged, sleepy state. You have forgotten completely that this moment is the only real moment there is. And if you want to have any contact with reality, then wake up here and now. Hence this strange idea of Zen, that enlightenment happens in an instant. Many people become puzzled. How can it happen in an instant? Indians particularly become very puzzled because they have the idea that first you have to get rid of all the past karmas. And now this foolish idea has reached the West. Now in the West, people are talking about past karmas. First you have to get rid of all the past karma. And do you know how long the past is? It is eternity. And if you are to get rid of all the past karmas, you are never going to get rid of all of it. That much is certain. And meanwhile, you will be creating other karmas, and the past will go on becoming bigger and bigger every day. If that's the only way out, that one has to get rid of all past karmas, then there is no possibility of enlightenment. Then there has never been any Buddha, and there is never going to be any Buddha. It is impossible. Just think of all the past karmas and all the karmas that have built up. First, you have to get rid of them. And how are you going to get rid of all of them? In trying to get rid of them, you'll have to create other karmas. And this is a vicious circle. And to be totally enlightened, the people who believe in the philosophy of karma say, not only are you to get rid of all the bad karmas, but you have to get rid of all the good karmas too. Because the bad karmas create iron chains, and the good karmas create golden chains. But chains are chains, and you have to get rid of all kinds of chains. Now things become even more complicated. And how can you get rid of bad karma? If you ask them, they say, create good karma and get rid of bad karmas. And how can you get rid of the good karmas? Then the saints become angry and they say, stop, you are just arguing too much. This is not a question of argument. Believe, trust, have faith. It is not really a question of getting rid of karmas. When in the morning you wake up, do you have to get rid of all the dreams first? You have been a thief in the dreams, a murderer, a rapist, or a saint. And you can be all kinds of things in dreams. Do you have to get rid of all those dreams first before you proceed with your day? The moment you are awake, you are out of all those dreams. They are finished. There is no question of getting rid of them. And that is the essential message of Zen, that you need not be worried about the past karmas. They were all dream acts. Just wake up and they are all finished. But we are sleepy people, and anything that fits with our sleep has great appeal. We listen only according to our state of mind. The whole world is asleep. There is rarely once in a while a person who is not asleep, who is awake. When he speaks to you, is there a misunderstanding? Obviously, he speaks from his standpoint, from his awakening, and he says, forget all about your dreams. That is all nonsense. Good and bad, they are all alike. Saint and sinner, they are all alike. Simply wake up. Don't be worried that first you have to become a saint in your dream, that you have to change your being a sinner into being a saint first. Then you can just wake up. Why go on such a long route? You can wake up directly. You can wake up while you are committing a sin. You can while you are murdering somebody in your dream, you can wake up. There is no problem. In fact, if you are a saint, you may not like to wake up. A murderer will find it easier to wake up because he has nothing to lose. But the saint has a great prestige to lose. Maybe he is being garlanded and a noble prize is being given and the people are clapping and touching his feet. And suddenly the alarm goes. Is this the time for the alarm? Can't the alarm wait a little more? When things are going so sweetly and beautifully and the alarm can wait just a little. A murderer has nothing to lose. He is already suffering. He is in a deep inner torture. In fact, he will feel relieved if the alarm goes off. He will feel a great freedom coming out of that nightmare. Hence, it happens more often that sinners wake up earlier than saints, because the sinners go through nightmares, and saints and saints are having such a sweet dream. Who wants to wake up when you are king with a golden palace and enjoying all kinds of things? Maybe you are in a paradise in your dream. But one thing is for certain. When you are asleep, you have a certain language, the language of sleep, and you can understand other people who are asleep and speak the same language. That's why the philosophy of karma became so important, so prevalent, so dominant. It has ruled almost all the religions of the world in different ways. In India, there have been great religions such as Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism. They disagree on every point except on the philosophy of karma. They disagree on every point possible. They disagree on the existence of God. They disagree even on the existence of the soul. They disagree on the existence of the world, but they don't disagree on the philosophy of karma. It must have some deep appeal for the sleeping mind. And these people cannot understand Zen. When a Hindu pundit or Jainaya monk comes to see me, he is very much puzzled. He says, Are you teaching instant, sudden enlightenment? Then what about Mahavira, who had to struggle for many lives to become enlightened? And I say to them, these stories are invented by you. The Mahavira that you talk about is an invention in your dream. You don't know about the real Mahavira. How can you know about his past lives? You don't even know about your past lives, and there is not even any argument on his past life or his life among his followers. What to say about his past lives? On such factual matters, for example, whether he was married or not. One sect of Jains say that he was not married, because to them a man like Mahavira getting married looks insulting, humiliating. And the other sect of Jains say that he was not only married, but he had a daughter too. Now that is going too far, having a daughter. That means he must have indulged in sex, because at that time the story of Jesus had not happened. Virgin birth was not yet known. They can't agree. The disciples can't agree about Mahavira's last life on factual matters like marriage, daughter, etc. And they talk about his past lives. Anything that helps you go on sleeping, postponing, appeals. Even Mahavira had to work hard for many lives. So how can we become enlightened in this life? It'll take many lives, so there is no need to do anything right now. We can wait. And it is not going to happen right now anyway. It'll take many, many lives. Meanwhile, why not do other things? Accumulate more money, prestige, and power. Do other things, eat, drink, and be merry, because this is not going to happen, this enlightenment right now. It will take many, many lives. And meanwhile, while you cannot just go on sitting and waiting, one has to do something. Sleeping people can understand a language which appeals to their sleep. We understand only that which triggers the process in our being. So Osho shares this story with us. He says the Sisters of Mercy were about to be sent as missionaries out into the world of sin. And Mother Superior has one last question to ask each nun before deciding which of them were the best fitted for the hazardous task ahead. Sister Agatha, she asked the first, what would you do if you were walking along a deserted street at night and a strange man approached you and made indecent advances? Oh, holy Mother of God, gasped the nun. May all the saints forbid. Why, I would get down on my knees and pray to the Holy Virgin that my soul might be saved. Mother Superior noted that Sister Agatha might be better suited for more domestic work. The same question was asked of Sister Agnes, who replied, why, I would punch him in the nose, and then I would start running down the street as fast as I could, shouting, help, help. Mother Superior noted Sister Agnes as one of the possible candidates for the missionary work. Next, she asked Sister Teresa, who began, "Well, first I would pull down his trousers," and Mother Superior choked a little bit, but Sister Agnes continued, "And then I would pull up my dress, and then," Sister Teresa interrupted the senior nun. Now, what kind of an answer is that?" "Well," said the other, "I just figured that I can run faster with my dress up than he can with his trousers down." Funny story. So we understand only that which we can understand. The sleeping humanity can understand only certain things. It can hear only certain things. The other things are not heard, or even heard. If they are heard, they are not understood. They are misunderstood. Zen has been misunderstood very much. You'll be surprised to know that even Buddhists don't understand Zen. Many Orthodox Buddhists have come to me asking why I am emphasizing Zen so much, because it is not the mainstream Buddhist tradition. And that is true. The main Buddhist tradition is against Zen. Zen seems to be a little outlandish, a little eccentric, for the simple reasons that it brings such a totally new truth to you: instant enlightenment. Never has any other religion emphasized it so much, that you are capable of becoming enlightened right now. It is all up to you. So I'd like to add my words to Osho's words on this matter, and that my personal story was way back in 1996. I started meditating, trying to help my body get a little bit healthier, and I meditated for about 2 years before I went to California on a surfing trip, and I was surfing really big waves off the coast of California, and one wave in particular, I fell off early and went over the falls and got tossed and turned in what we call the washing machine for several minutes, and I ran out of air, and I kind of just told myself, well, this is it. This is the day I'm going to die. So I just accepted that fact and let go. I went limp and stopped fighting. And as I went limp, I saw a golden light in front of my eyes because I closed my eyes and, accepted my destiny. And it felt like somebody grabbed my collar and pulled me to the surface of the water. I mean, it was that fast. And I get to the surface of the water and I look around to thank the person that pulled me to the surface. And I was the only one in that area. There was nobody else anywhere near around me that could have done that for me. But the truth is that experience freed me from the fear of death and fear in general, not just the fear of death, but the fear of everything in general, because I felt like, most of my life I had been in one way or another in fear of this or in fear of that, and it dominated and controlled me. Fear of what happens after you die, fear of what happens if you live, or fear if you ask that girl out or what she might say. All these things, all these fears that control your life can be conquered by overcoming your fear. And as I let go of fear and transcended fear, I also let go of my greed and a subtle greed for any future. I just went into meditation the next day and said to myself, okay, life ain't gonna get any better than this. Surfing off the coast of California, beautiful big waves and beautiful warm air, and it's not too hot, it's not too cold. The sun's shining on my face. And I went into meditation, and the next day with those thoughts in my mind, and I let go of all the greed and fear of everything, and went into meditation. And what happened can only be called instant enlightenment, because I don't know if I feel like I have really earned it. It kind of happened out of sequence, out of time. Like I said, I'd only been meditating for a couple years, and really I did not know much. But this transcendence of letting go of the negative and the positive, just letting go of all greed for or desire for heaven or fear for hell, letting go of all those things, because in reality they don't exist. They control you, but they don't exist in reality. The truth is and life is only in the present moment, and that's where we That's where we experience what they call enlightenment. And to me, it felt like a second birth. No words can really describe what happened and how fast it happened. I was in meditation, but it felt like I had been lifted up in the chair, like a couple feet above the chair, and I was filled with golden light, and the light poured into me, and it poured into everything around me also. So it wasn't just me that was being enlightened. It seemed like all of existence around me was being enlightened. Or more true to say, it could have been more that, I was becoming a part of what already was. And that's why Osho and all the mystics say that, it's already in your nature. You already have it. You just have to let go of a lot of conditioning that you have accumulated in your life. A lot of dust on the mirror, because the mirror has to be clean and it has to be dust free in order to reflect the true nature of what you are and who you are, and you are in tune with this oneness when you become enlightened, and after that moment of enlightenment, you can never be separated. You can never be taken back into darkness, even if it's just for a minor glimpse. Once you're enlightened, you are always enlightened after that. And all the mystics have said that through the ages that, once you're enlightened, the journey's complete. You don't have to go through another life and death cycle on this earth in the human form. So, I don't know how much of that I want to believe is true or not, because as a surfer, I can't imagine any other life being greater than this. As a surfer, I can't imagine a world being any greater than this. There are so many beautiful places to see and surf, and so many beautiful people that surf and share this vibe of love for the ocean that we surfers call the surfing lifestyle. But anyway, once again, I guess we'll wrap it up about here. I want to say thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to my words. I hope I can shed a little bit of insight into your lives and help enrich your lives and give you the courage one day that you can take that step and let go of fear and let go of greed and take that final step, that final plunge. You may be really close to it and you just don't know. But like I said, it can happen in an instant. And that's what Zen is. Zen is instant enlightenment. There have been Zen monks that have become enlightened by watching a match, light up, or just walking in the garden and stumbling on a stone and, becoming awakened. It's just, suddenly it can happen, and it can happen to anyone. All the talk about karmas and you can't be enlightened before this and that's done is a bunch of nonsense when it comes to Zen. And when you go down the journey of Zen, Zen is the pathless path. There really is no path of Zen. It's just, living with awareness and encompassing awareness in everything you do. And that's what we call living in Zen. Anyway, thank you for joining me again. My name is Douglas Grummons, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you again. And take care of yourselves out there. Stay cool. Bye-bye.